Hello everyone, this is Michael from ePapery. Today I'm using a piece of junk mail to make a piece of ephemera for my journal. So this is a trifold pamphlet, and I am taking the last piece of the trifold and turning it over on itself to make a tuck spot. And so I am burnishing where that tuck spot is going to be. Now I'm just looking at the rest of it to try and determine how else I can make this work for me. So I decided I was going to take the second trifold and fold it in half. And that is going to become a pocket, top-loading pocket. Here again, I'm burnishing to make sure that I've got it creased nicely. Then the third piece of the trifold, I'm going to fold in half again, and that is going to formulate the front cover and an additional page. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to burnish again to make sure that we have a nice tight fold. Now you could do this with just paper, even 8.5 by 11 is, I guess, what I made this template to work for. So I'm going to include in here for a short period of time a template that I made showing some measurements as to how you can make this with 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 paper. Now I would make this out of something that's a little more substantial than just copy paper. Now here I am taking a piece of paper that I have from a notebook and checking to see if it would fit in there to make a signature for my folio. So I've decided that that would work. Here's my template. I've decided that that would work for the signature. So I'm going to take 2 of these pages and I'm going to put them together, and I'm going to use washi tape to put them together. So I've decided I wanted to use this washi tape, and I'm trying to get this even so I can take the washi tape and put them together with the washi tape. I decided I needed to cut it instead of leaving it long for better handling. Okay, so I am going to tape this down now. There we go. I'm gonna smooth it down. And now I'm going onto the back side of those 2 pages and doing the same thing again with a different color washi tape. So I will put that down on the back side. There we go. So then I wanted to fold this to make sure that this was going to work as a signature. I'm cutting off the excess washi tape here. Getting rid of my garbage on my scissors. There we go. Now I'm trying to fold it here to see if I can make this work. And as I'm folding it, I'm seeing that the washi tape is not sticking. So I took it off and decided I was going to add some glue to it. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm adding glue to the washi tape, and then I will put it back down on the signature papers. And hopefully that will work better. I'm going to make 3 of these signature papers to go into my little folio. Okay, now I have decided I better burnish down that washi tape to make sure that that glue is going to have good contact with the paper. Now, smartly, I decided instead of trying to fold it, I was going to set it aside and let it dry. So I continue to do the other two pieces of the signature the same way. Now I have all three of them done, and I am setting them aside. Now here I am looking through some of the papers that I have from the digital that I purchased. I will try and remember to put that in the description as to where these digitals came from. I'm measuring here. Well, the way I measure. I don't measure with a ruler. Anyway, I'm measuring here to see if I can make this fit the way I'd like it to. And it appears that it probably will work. So now I'm trying to trim it down to what I think I'm going to need. So I have my piece trimmed down here. It looks like it's going to fit pretty good. So then I'm going to glue that to the front cover. This ephemera is going to go into a quilting journal. So there we go. We're putting it on the front cover. Trying to get it as straight as possible. Now I'm going to try and burnish that down to make sure that that adheres properly. So there's the front cover. Okay, now I'm trying to determine what else to do here. But first I have a little bit I need to trim off. I was a little off on my measurement. So I'm trimming off that little bit of excess. Okay, now I'm trying to decide where and what I want to do next. So I decided to use this piece of paper, and I believe this is going to be the back cover. So again, I have trimmed this down to what I think is going to be the proper size. Checking to make sure that I'm somewhat correct in the sizing. It looks pretty good. I'm just thinking here about how I want to do the rest of it. So I had glued that piece for the back. Now I'm going to take the piece that I folded over to make the tuck spot. And to be honest with you, I could have waited to do this, and it might have been better if I had. But in my infinite wisdom, I didn't. So here I have glued that tuck spot on the top and the bottom, and waiting for it to dry. I've placed a clip on it. Now I'm taking the next page and I'm gluing the sides and the bottom of that so that I can make my top loading pocket. So I'm putting that down, make my top loading pocket. So there we go. So now I am finally going to fold my signature pages, and hopefully they will stay glued properly. And I'm going to burnish that down to make sure that it's going to be flat enough. So I'm going to do that with all 3 of my pages. Then I'm going to put them together to make the signature. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to test it again to make sure that it's going to fit properly into the space that I want that to go in. It looks like it's going to work fairly well. There we go. So I'm going to take those pieces out and set them aside. Now I have to work on covering the rest of this folio. So I'm finding a piece of paper that I like and would like to put on one of the areas of the folio. And I'm taking another piece and doing the same thing to make the next page. Now I made this one just a little bit wider so that it can cover over the information that's on the pamphlet on the fold area. Okay, so I think I've got it figured out. I have the 2 pieces. Now I'm going to glue them. This is the one that has a little bit of extra to go over the fold line. And I'm going to glue that on. Okay. So I'm placing that down, trying to get it as straight as possible, and again, burnishing it to make sure that it's going to adhere properly. This junk mail has a little bit of a glossy surface to it, so I wanted to make sure that it was going to stay down. Now here again, I am looking for some additional paper that I can use. And then I've changed my mind and decided that the first one I cut out is going to be the best one to use. So again, I'm checking to make sure that's going to fit. And it appears that it will. So I'm going to take and glue that down. As straight as possible. And burnish it down. So now I have done the front cover, the back cover, and 2 sheets inside the folio. So I still have additional pages inside this folio to cover. So I am looking for additional papers that I think that I can use to cover those additional pages of the folio. So I decided I was going to choose this one. At least I hope this is the one I chose. Nope, it's the other one. So this one is kind of just a neutral lace, kind of neutral color. So I decided on that one, cut it down as best I could. And now I'm going to pick it up and place it where I want it to go. Looks like I cut it a little bit too big. Anyway, that's what I'm doing there. I'm working on such a small space here. I was actually watching TV when I was doing this, which is why I'm doing a voiceover. which I'm not very good at, so please excuse me. Okay, I'm burnishing it here again to make sure that it's going to stay down. Okay. Now I had some additional pieces, as you can see, that I had cut off from that because I didn't measure it as close as I should have. Now I'm taking the next piece and gluing it down where I want it to be. I believe that this, now we are on to where our top loading pocket is. So gluing that down and burnishing that also. Okay. Okay. So now we are going to finish the last part of the folio. And I wanted to cover underneath where that tuck spot is going to be. And here's where I think I should have not glued the pocket down right away. I should have waited until after I had this piece in, but I didn't, so I am trying to make it work to put it underneath where that tuck spot is. So I'm gluing down that piece of paper, which again is a neutral lace piece. Okay, so I've gotten that in there underneath where the tuck spot is, burnishing that down. And then I added another piece that goes on the tuck spot itself. So now I basically have it all covered in various papers. So now I'm going to put a thumb spot in the tuck spot and in the top loading pocket here. Trying to get it in the middle. Okay. Now I'm going to take an ink all the way around. And here I am starting to put the signature in at the beginning of the folio. So I'm poking my holes in the actual folio, and then I'm going to line up where the papers, the signature actually goes in, and I am poking holes in that, trying to be careful that I get it in the crease. And now I am sewing it. I just did a 3-stitch pamphlet stitch. So I've finished that. I'm going to take and tie off my signature, trim down my extra thread, and now I have my signature in. Okay. And I decided that I needed to, I think, burnish down the signature so that it would fit better in that area. So I'm burnishing down the signature itself. There it seems to fit a little flatter than it did before. Okay, so I'm burnishing again where that signature goes in on the outside. Okay, now I'm onto making some pockets. And I took a square piece of paper and I cut it into a triangle. I cut it diagonally into a triangle. Now I'm inking it, and I'm going to glue this onto one of the pages. I can't remember which one I glued it to. Okay. So I glued that pocket onto one of the pages, and I chose a piece of tag to put in that pocket. So now I'm considering what else I need or want to do. I've decided that the signature page to begin with there is a little dull, so I decided to put a flower on there. Now I'm looking through all of the additional pieces that came with these kits to decide what other things I may want to put in. So there I've put some journaling cards in, and a tag, I think. I've got quite the mess there on my desk. So I decide I am going to put that one in that pocket. Well, maybe I'm not. Yes, I am, but in the back. So I'm putting some ink around those pieces. And now I'm looking at this circular piece, trying to figure out if I can use that somewhere. And I decided I might use it there as a tuck spot. So I decided I'm going to ink it up. And I'm going to glue just the bottom part of it down on the page so that I can use it as a tuck spot. So I'm only gluing just the bottom portion of that circle. There we go. Now I think I'm looking for a journaling card or a tag or something that I can put in that tuck spot. And I decided to use a tag, and I did punch a hole in it and inked around it. And so that's going to go in that tuck spot. Now I'm looking for additional paper that I can use to make a pocket or a belly band or something. But instead I decided that I was going to use that piece as another journaling card in the back of the tuck spot. So I'm inking that up. Okay. Actually, that's going to go in the top loading pocket. Okay, so go put that in the top loading pocket there. Okay. Well, we're getting there. Now I'm looking at the entire piece to see if I want to do anything else. And I decided that I did want to put some more journaling cards in that tuck spot. So I inked that up and put that in the tuck spot. Okay, now I'm looking at this blank sheet or page and trying to decide if I want to leave it so that it can be written on or if I want to do something else with it. So I'm just playing around with different ideas. Looking for additional paper that I might like to use. I'm measuring that piece that I found to see if it's going to fit where I might like it to be. So I think I am trimming it down. Yep. Inking that piece up. And I decided I was going to put it toward the bottom of that blank page. So I wanted to see if it would work as like a belly band there. And I used one of the envelopes from the kit. So I decided that that would work. Now I'm looking for a piece of ephemera that I can put on that envelope to use as a closure to keep that envelope flap closed. I settle on this butterfly. Having trouble trying to get it in where I want it. Okay. So I basically decide that that's going to work. So I glued that down. Now I'm just looking through the rest of it to see if there's anything else I might want to do, confusing myself on how it was supposed to go. And finally look at it and decide, well, I think it has enough in it at this point. So that is going to be the end. Thank you so much for joining me today